Hello amigos! Don't you just hate 2D in general? I don't like the format at all. I think 3D on everything looks way cooler because, well, it's just like real life. Wait a minute. So 2D is cool for video games, but have you really asked yourself how would Mario be if he was real? Me neither, but he would probably say spaghetti! If you had that dream to see the Italian man to be a playable 3D model, not a 2D sprite anymore, on July 23 of 1996, then Nintendo made your wish come true. I hope you're happy. Super Mario 64 is the first 3D Mario game ever, and probably the best first 3D game for a video game characters, since it provided the true idea and no more than other than what an open world video game should be. And this wasn't the first ever 3D game, nothing like that. In the Super Nintendo, 3D games were already being made, but it was the Super Nintendo, so they had a lot of restrictions for a 3D game, especially having a D-pad to play 3D games. That just feels wrong. Hopefully they don't do the same mistake in the future. Anyways, with the Nintendo 64 release came Super Mario 64, a new experience for video games. Since it would be a 3D open world, Nintendo couldn't just put a linear level with a finish, since it would be the same as the last one. It would just look better and you won't take advantage of this 3D feature. They needed to try hard, and it was kind of a shot in the dark since this was a new concept at the time and didn't know if this 3D open world would work. Well, that shot in the dark hit the jackpot since Mario 64 became so iconic with the Nintendo 64 that it is its best seller on the console. Sure, there were some bundles of the Nintendo 64 with Mario 64 in them, but there was also the physical version of the video game. So as I said, you can now turn around 360 degrees. Isn't that so awesome? I like to think that this format of Mario games became its own genre, the 3D Mario games. It wouldn't only be Mario games only. This game made a clear difference between these two. So, Super Mario 64, what else was added to the controllers besides jumping and moving? Well, Mario now becomes this great gymnastic, doing these all new fancy tricks he can pull. A triple jump if you have the perfect momentum, a side jump that gives you so much altitude. You can dive and also long jump for more speed in some levels. These great new mechanics that felt weird at the time since we only saw the red man jumping and running, but they became so iconic for Mario that this moveset has been seen on future 3D Mario games. But if these are the mechanics, how are the levels, you might ask? Well, let's just jump right into the game and see what awaits us.
It's me, Mario!
He can talk? Yes, for the first time in gaming history we get to hear what Mario's voice is, and since that point, the plumber has been voiced by the one and only Charles Martinet, and I seriously can't see another man or another person be the voice of Mario. He truly brings out the true character. It fits so perfectly, and no other person would be better for this voice. Except for Star-Lord, of course. The catch of this game was so different compared to the older Mario games. We don't go from castle to castle trying to find the Princess Peach. In this game we get to see the actual Princess Peach's castle, since the Princess Peach invited us to her castle for a piece of cake she baked. We get attacked by Lakitu explaining us that he is going to be recording us and we can tell him to move out of the way if we want to. As we enter the castle, we get greeted by Bowser telling us that, hey, so yeah, I locked away the princess so that she could get ready for a trip to Cancun, and you will never find her since I locked her away with the power stars. So yeah, scram you bozo. I like to think that Bowser has an accent. So now you have two options. 1. Collect all the stars to fight Bowser on the different levels of the castle, the first floor, the basement, and the upstairs room. While collecting the stars, avoiding the enemies that Bowser has put into your way, as well as many structures that may block your path to the final challenge. Also finding many power-ups that help you throughout the adventure. Or 2. Just around in the game. A great point for this game that we can see on other 3D Mario games or other games in general is the game is not holding your hand while playing. As I've said, this game is not linear anymore, but there is also never a finish line on the levels, or you touch the point of a flag to end the level. You now explore the levels till you find the start of the level, and since the game is not helping that much, as you enter a level, the game hints of what the level is supposed to be, but if you find another star while exploring that is not necessarily the one you were looking for, the game doesn't punish you or it doesn't necessarily break the whole story, since it's totally acceptable to explore, so why not have other stars on the same level? This concept was also another thing that defined what I think another genre of 3D Mario games, because the games like Mario Galaxy or Mario 3D World, sure, those games are 3D games, but are you really playing an open world? It seems to me that you are following what the game tells you to do, and once you get to the end of the level, you don't have an option then to end the level, not compared to Super Mario 64 and the other Mario 3D games. And since this game is not linear, you can also explore the game at your own pace and come back to other levels if you haven't completed them the full way. Oh, and also, you don't need to complete 100% of the levels. You don't need to get the 6 stars of the level to beat Bowser. You only need 8 stars to defeat the first one, 30 stars to defeat the second one, and 70 stars for the final Bowser. So this means that you don't even need to play some of the levels to defeat the final Bowser. And thank God for that, because I hate Rainbow Ride. The levels were also so different from the last game. A clock? A slide? A lagoon monster? This was something different. Of course, you had the traditional green level and desert level, but the creativity for some of these ones, and also a new format for the Bowser levels that are not castles, but instead this space level where you have to get to the top to see Bowser. And in some of these levels we can also enter some sub-areas, as an example the big pyramid on Shifting Sandland that not only has the outside stuff, the inside of the pyramid has a big ass room with more stars of the level. There is also the active volcano on Lethal Labyrinth. It was so fun to see how much love they put on the levels and feel so different from linear levels, and truly sets the idea for an open world level with many opportunities for exploring. Another variant for this game that also made the difference was the power-ups on Mario 64. This time there are no fire flowers or mushrooms to get you bigger. You now use the caps that can help you on the levels, such as the flying cat that has these 2 little wings that can make you glide on the levels, the metal cat that can make you invincible and also heavy. The heavy part makes you walk underwater, that helps in some situations on the levels. The invisible cap that makes Mario invisible a little way. You cannot walk through some things in evades of enemies. The great part about these power-ups is that these aren't unlocked right away for you to use on the very first level. You have to go around exploring the levels and the princess castles for them to be unlocked. And it's not just walk around till you find them. In some of them, you have to look at the ceiling in a specific part. You also have to drain the river outside the castle to unlock another one. These power-ups can be used on levels, but it also makes you look back on stars that looked impossible to get. With power-ups, they can now be captured. And I didn't grow up on Mario 64, I grew up with Mario Sunshine and forward. I didn't get to experience the original Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64, but a few years back I tried it for the first time and it was so much fun. So much originality was put into this game, and I can see this game as the best jump to 3D. The controls are so simple and the physics fits so right for this wacky world. You don't necessarily analyze why Mario can jump so long or can go so fast. You go with it since it fits so much, and then you realize, wait a minute, how can Mario do a triple jump? He just can. Other video games that tried to jump to 3D failed hard or kinda stand out as a good jump from 2D, but none stand out as high as Super Mario 64 and truly said what Mario 3D Worlds are. Pure fun and freedom of anything you want to do. Do you want to crash against the wall? Do you not want to play the level but still beat the game? Do you want to throw a big walking bomb? All of those things and more can be done on Mario 64. Mario 64 became so iconic, even the best Mario 3D experience for some people, because it provides some of the best bits for Mario. But it's not perfect. There are some things that ruin the experience on this game, but those are some minor things that doesn't necessarily break the game for the worst, and some of the bugs even make the game more fun for the people, which came as surprising since most of these become stressful. From the levels, to the iconic characters, to the amazing music, to the twist of being an open world, This is a 10 out of 10 experience for the gaming community, and sure, from that point there was much more content on the way, such as Super Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy, but if it weren't for Mario 64, none of these amazing games were to be here, and we truly have to thank this era for the release of Mario 64. But I only have one question. If Super Mario 64 was so good, where is Super Mario 65?